Last week, the Karnataka Legislative Assembly caused a storm with new Labour proposals which have since been put on hold, reservation for Kannadigas in the private sector, and a 14-hour workday. A lot has been said about the economic and political problems that these are meant to address and will also cause, particularly in cosmopolitan Bengaluru. But that barely scratches the surface. The fact is that despite being Karnataka's greatest metropolis, Bengaluru's history does not belong to Karnataka alone. It has been shaped by centuries of migration, trade, and exchange. The history of Bengaluru encapsulates the history of all of South India: Kannadigas, Telugus, Tamils, and more. The Bengaluru region is one of the longest continually occupied zones in the entire Indian subcontinent, influenced by innovations and changes across South India. This was driven by the region's geography. It was a cool, settled highland between two coasts with rich mineral deposits of its own. Traders moved between the Malabar and Coromandel coasts via South Karnataka, bringing ideas and goods to local chiefdoms even before the city was founded. This is evident in the city's archaeology. In 1891, workers at Yashwantpur, which is today the site of a massive railway station, found a pot containing 163 Roman coins dating from 23 BCE to 51 CE. And around 2004, ruins of a Buddhist monastery, active from the 2nd to 7th century CE, were found in Rajaghatta near Bengaluru's international airport today. We talked more about South Indian Buddhism in this video. The decline of this monastery corresponded with the beginning of the early medieval period. Warlike new states emerged across southern India using Sanskrit as a language of power and revering Shiva as a royal god. Some states were based around Bengaluru, and through their remains, we can see a gradual increase in the region's population and its increasing international connections within South Asia. The name Bengaluru first appears in inscriptions commemorating raids between local chiefs. Manne, just north of the future Bengaluru city, was ruled by the Western Ganga kingdom, which was frequently at war with the Rashtrakuta Empire of the central Deccan. Rashtrakuta attacks killed many in the Bengaluru region, including a certain Kittaya, who was later declared Bengaluru's first known citizen. As part of their war with the Rashtrakutas, the Gangas married one of their princesses to an Odia king. She ruled there briefly as a revered regent, as we talked about in this column. In the mid 9th century, the Rashtrakutas and Gangas formed an alliance. The Rashtrakuta poet Emperor Amoghavasha I declared that the Kannada country extends from the river Kaveri to the Godavari, though this was a bit of an exaggeration, ignoring South India's growing multilingualism. Many Kannada poets, such as Pampa, author of the first Kannada Mahabharata, came from coastal Andhra, where Telugu was widely spoken. Interestingly, in the 9th century, the Rashtrakutas considered North Karnataka to be the heartland of Kannada, but thanks to Bengaluru, South Karnataka would soon challenge this. A dramatic cultural change is visible in the Bengaluru region from the late 10th to early 11th centuries, almost exactly 1000 years ago. The Rashtrakuta and Ganga kingdoms collapsed, and into the vacuum arrived the Chola Empire. Following the Kaveri River east, they brought Tamil merchants and peasant warriors to settle in the Bengaluru region. According to data from the Inscription Stones of Bengaluru project, temple inscriptions in the region shifted from mostly Kannada to mostly Tamil. This wasn't because locals were wiped out. Instead, many local chiefs adopted Tamil titles and used Tamil in their inscriptions, some of which can be seen in the temples of Chokanatha at Domalur and Someshwara at Madiwala. By the 13th century, though, the flow of immigrants was reversed. The Hoysala kingdom of South Karnataka conquered parts of the lower Kaveri floodplain, and Kannada speaking merchants and generals began to appear in Tamil temple inscriptions. The movement of people between the upper Kaveri in present day South Karnataka and the lower Kaveri in present day Tamil Nadu is generally underappreciated. It became one of South India's defining dynamics in the late medieval period, particularly after Bengaluru was finally founded as a fortified market town by the local chief Kempegowda in the 16th century. Structures dating to this period, such as the towers of the Bhoganandishwara and Alsur Someshwara temples, were built in a local variation of Vijayanagara imperial style. Vijayanagara itself was a Karnataka based empire dominated by a Telugu speaking warrior class whose architecture was based on Tamil models with Persianate ideas, as we talked about in this video. So, Tamil and Telugu speakers were present in the Bengaluru region before and after the city's founding. Within the next 100 years, Marathi speakers also joined Bengaluru, and it was briefly conquered by members of the Bhonsle family, the father, brother, and son of Shivaji. This dizzying procession of dynasties and states only ended in the 18th century after the British conquered the city from the Mysore king Tipu Sultan. The city was then partitioned between the British cantonment and the old market area ruled by Mysore's Wadiyar dynasty. The British were accompanied by their Indian troops, including the Tamil-speaking Madras sappers. They settled at Ulsoor, serviced by a thriving Tamil, Telugu, and Marathi merchant population. As Bengaluru took on its modern shape, it continued to be linguistically diverse. Meera Iyer, convener of Intact Bengaluru, writes in Discovering Bengaluru that an 1896 petition included signatures in Kannada, Telugu, Hindi, English, and Urdu. So all of this brings up the question, whose Bengaluru is it anyway? When the city was founded, would its residents have even recognized modern ideas of linguistic states and identities when many of them were proficient in more than one language? And even beyond the city, much of South Karnataka has a long history of international connectivity. It was this that enabled Bengaluru to emerge as the major economic center of Karnataka, but without long-term planning, it ended up creating an unequal, Bengaluru-focused picture of the state's development. There's no question that inequality and economic distress, both within Bengaluru and in North Karnataka, need urgent redressal. But reservations solely for Kannadigas is not a historical solution. The Bengaluru region's greatest strength is its ability to accommodate many vibrant cultures and peoples, to make them its own, and to prosper as a result. If you have questions or comments, we'd love to hear them. Follow us everywhere on social media. You can find me on Instagram at Anirbuddha and on Twitter at Ekanisetti. We'll see you next week.